Welcome back, Raider Nation. It's your brother Marquise here with a quick interview with Dr. O. We're here to talk about Lonnie Johnson Jr. You know the safety we had that just got hurt on August 5th, broke his leg. Yeah, we're gonna find out a little bit more information about him. And is that outlook gonna be as bleak as we think? Or is there maybe a silver lining to this injury? Personally, as a Raider fan, I feel terrible for Lonnie Johnson. The guy has been bouncing around the league and never really had the opportunity to get the shine. And finally, he found a place where it seemed as if these coordinators and Pete Carroll valued his skill set and was going to give him a real opportunity to be an impact on defense and not just a player on special teams. Unfortunately, August 5th in the mock game, injury struck, and we lost Lonnie Johnson for what looked like could possibly be the season. However, recent reports, it may not be as long as we think. So, Dr. O, can you give us a little bit more information on this injury and what Raider Nation can expect?
Okay, all right, thanks, brother Marquise. All right, so the issue with Lonnie Johnson Jr. is that he did fracture his fibula. This occurred during the game, like you said, the mock game, while trying to tackle Mustard and kind of ran into Crosby, which is pretty much an immovable force. Anyway, fracture to the fibula. Issue with that is recovery could be between 10 weeks up to 6 months, which would run heavy into the season, but especially if there's any surgical intervention that's required. But these are athletes we're talking about, and they tend to have a really good bounce back. I would
All
say,
right.
generally speaking.
Let me ask you, you said a huge range there, 10 weeks to 6 months. I mean, what would determine whether you're on the shorter end or the longer end of that spectrum?
Well, we have to factor in a few things. The complexity of the fracture. Is it just a clean break? Is there a compound fracture? Is it jagged? Is it spiral? Then we also have to factor in, are there ligaments that are involved? And that could really complicate things because now we have that soft tissue that kind of tends to slow down the healing process. And then, if there's surgical intervention required, all those things complicate it a lot. So if there's surgery and if there's ligament damage coupled with the fracture, that's going to decrease the likelihood of returning during this season.
So, what's the biggest concern here? That when you're looking at the medical report here, is it nerve damage? Is it the actual healing of the bone? What is the Raider Nation not want to hear?
We definitely don't want to hear that there's any ligament damage or nerve damage. Seems unlikely because you don't really see that frequently with that fracture. He also did seem to be in good spirits based upon reports. Him asking if he's going to be able to get um, uh, y- a decal to get good parking in the front. But so it doesn't sound as if he was extremely distraught about the situation. But for the position that he plays, safety, quickness, speed, agility, directional changes is definitely required from that particular bone in that area. And that bone is on the leg, below the knee, between the knee and the ankles, just to kind of put things as simple as possible. It is not a major weight bearing joint, holds about 10 to 20% of the body's weight, but a lot of muscle attachments to the area that are necessary for that quick twitch directional change, to be as quick and springy as possible. So, 10 weeks, I would say. And then he's going to also have to kind of get his legs back under him, going to get comfortable, be reacclimated to game speed. So, optimistically, I say 10 weeks. So we're looking at maybe halfway through the season, week, you know, 8, 9-ish, 10, So let's keep our eyes out on the reports and let's see where this goes.
So, with the 10-week projection, is that 10 weeks and he's on the field, or 10 weeks till he's able to start maybe doing some physical therapy and start working his way back?
I'd say 10 weeks on the field. Now, is he going to be game ready? He's going to be a full-time game ready. Yeah, that's to be seen. But at least moving around, trying to get his legs under him, making directional changes, feeling comfortable, planting off that leg, wrap up tackling, picking somebody up and doing some damage out there on the field, So I'd say 6 weeks, gonna be walking, moving around, with great therapy. great rehab and him staying diligent on that, which is work in itself. Um, Great potential as long as there isn't any major complications at this moment.
All right, Raider Nation. So that takes us. If you were to count 10 weeks from his injury, and bear with us, Silver and Black Cast does math. It can get a little dangerous here. That would take us to October 21st. Would be 10 weeks to the day of his injury. So October 21st would be about week eight or nine in the NFL season. So the interesting thing will be to see what the Raiders do with his roster spot. I don't think that they want to cut him. So I'm expecting him to make the roster, and then after roster cut day, him immediately to be put onto injury reserve, and so that they can regain that, move somebody up from possibly the practice squad to take that spot. But that's a positive outlook. You got a guy who they clearly had a vision for, a plan for, and yes, it sucks that he's going to miss the first half of the season, but it's better than the initial reports when we thought he was going to be gone for the entire year.
Question: how's the defense going to retool now that he was slated to take Jeremy Chin's position? How are they going to kind of pivot with his loss of time over this 10-week period?
Well, I think the signing of Terrell Edmunds is going to fix that. Terrell Edmunds, they just signed him 2 or 3 days ago. From he's out there in free agency. He's entering, I believe, year 8. He's a former first-round pick from the Steelers. Started for them for the first 5 years of his career, 6 years of his career, and then over the last season or 2 seasons, he's kind of been bouncing around, not really been able to find a home. But as your third safety, I think that he gives you the flexibility to be able to use Jeremy Chin in that big nickel role, and allows the Raiders to have a veteran presence in that back end of that defense, because all the defensive backs that we have are very, very young, especially in the safety room. You have Isaiah Palomalo, who's a starter who has probably started less than 10 games in his career. You have Chris Smith, who I don't even know how many defensive snaps he's had in his career thus far. Trey Taylor, who didn't play last year as a rookie, and Terrell Edmunds, who's been in part in the NFL for 7 or 8 seasons now. So he gives you some veteran presence. He gives you some experience to a much needed room, and I think that he'll end up being the third safety, and then they'll probably work their way back, Lonnie Johnson's way back into the rotation slowly, and maybe give him specific duties and specific packages where they feel they can use his skill set the best.
Okay. All right.
All right. You heard it here first, Raider Nation. Lonnie Johnson, terrible, sad injury, but not the end of the world. He will be back in silver and black. Win, lose, or tie, Raider Nation till we die. Just win, baby.
Just win.